Should you be concerned if your girlfriend is only able to see you once a week? That's the question we're going to answer on today's episode of Harry Dating Convos. Hi, I'm Harry Wilmington. I'm your host, and I got this comment under one of my videos with this guy. He's been with his girlfriend now for 4 months. I can't tell if he's been just dating her or if they've been in an official relationship that long, but the problem is, because of their schedules, they're only able to see each other once a week. On top of, they haven't really slept together all that much, and he wants to know if this should be a concern and what to look out for. So I'm going to give my insights on his situation. And if you guys have a question that you want answered on one of these shows, you can either write to me at harrywilmington@gmail.com, or you can leave a comment under any of my videos and I will answer it in one of these shows. Also, for more direct help from me, you can go to harrywilmington.com and sign up for one-on-one coaching, as well as checking out the Get Girls Academy, which is the end-all be-all program I have that gives all the video lessons you will ever need on how to get women, keep women, and how to understand the way in which women think and date. So check that out at the website. So let's go over his question. He says, "Hey, Harry, I have a question about a girlfriend that I've been dating for almost 4 months. We've been seeing each other on average once a week since we've been dating. Around our 2 month of dating, she mentioned that she would like to see each other twice a week, but this hasn't consistently happened because of her schedule." So for starting out, I'll say seeing each other once a week in the beginning of the dating phase is perfectly normal. In fact, that's actually a great schedule because you're not being a burden to her in terms of trying to take up too much of her time. And that gives her time between dates to really miss you, to really think back and reflect on how she felt being around you and build up anticipation for the next time you guys see each other. Now, what will typically happen as you're dating somebody is around the first month and a half mark, she'll do what this girl did and say, "Hey, I want to see you more." Or, "Hey, I know we normally see each other once a week, but I have this thing coming up I want you to come to," or "I just want to visit you." That's perfectly normal. So the fact that she suggested that means that you're on the right path so far. Now, as we go along, you'll see there's one big thing that complicates the reason why they can't see each other so much, which we'll get into momentarily. But I digress. So he says, it hasn't consistently happened because of their schedule in terms of meeting up more than once. So that's one of those things where if you notice that she's requesting something and it's still not able to happen, you got to try to kind of figure out what it is you can do to see to it that you guys are able to see each other a bit more. I'm not saying you go from once a week to 5 times a week. That's not realistic. But even going to twice or 3 times a week would be perfectly understandable. And so you as the guy are supposed to be coming up with solutions to this. If her schedule is a problem or situation, then how do you work around that? How do you fit in hours that you can still see each other even if she's really busy or you're really busy? That's kind of the thing you got to do as a guy is come up with solutions for those kind of things. So he says, "We've only slept with each other 3 times since we've been dating for almost 4 months, but only had sex 1 time out of those 3 sleepovers." Now, I don't know why it is that you're allowing that to happen, because there's a thing that sometimes women will do where they'll say, "Well, just because I hop in bed with a guy, it doesn't mean we have to get physical right away or do it all the time." And so guys not wanting to rock the boat or look like the guy that's just about sex will fall for the lie that it should be okay for her to sleep in a bed with you and not do anything. I don't want you to be the guy that ever falls for that lie. The reality is, anytime a woman either invites you into her bed or you invite her into your room, into your bed, and she says yes to that, the general assumption is going to be that a hookup is about to take place. Now, does it have to take place? I would say this. I would say if you as a guy want a hookup to happen, you're inviting her to the bed. If she says for whatever reason that she doesn't feel like doing that, or she's not in the mood for that, or it's too soon to do that, that is a respectable position to take. You guys get out of the bedroom. Don't be the guy that suckers yourself into thinking, "I can still have a woman in my room and not do anything with her and be totally fine." That woman's going to lose interest in you because even she knows that being in the room, some stuff should be going down. If she goes in there and decides to change her mind, she's in her full right to change her mind, and you're in the right to move locations back to the living room, back to the kitchen, where there's no assumption that sex is going to happen. But as a guy, if you are in a woman's bed or she's in your bed, sex should be happening, especially as you're getting to know a person. You're talking about you're in a relationship with her. She's allegedly the girlfriend. Like, there should be no time where you're in her bed staying overnight with her and hookups aren't happening. That's what simps do. And that's why simps continue to not get any action, because they think they can do that stuff and it's totally fine. And I want to be different from other guys. And women are not actually respecting those guys. So let's not do that anymore. Okay. And if you find yourself in that situation, then again, if you still insist like she drove to you and you don't want to kick her out or whatever, either you sleep on the couch and give her the bed or vice versa, but don't make the mistake of like, I'm going to lie here and just be totally cool with blue balls and maybe something will kind of sort of happen. Like, no, let's not do that game. Okay. So anyway, he said, I've also noticed that when we sleep over, that she always has to get up and leave early instead of allowing me to fix her breakfast to spend a little more time after our sleepover or vice versa. Okay. So I'll preface this by saying this, that maybe something nefarious is going on, right? Here's what I've learned about women is that very early on in the dating and relationship phase, they're trying to put their best foot forward. And part of that means not grossing guys out. And so there are a lot of women who will still do this to this day. They'll get up in the morning and they gotta they gotta take a huge dump, or they're potentially on their period. And whatever it is, they have to do, they know they have some nasty bathroom stuff to do, and they don't want to do that with the new guy that they're trying to impress and trying not to gross out. So there could be, hey, maybe she's going to sneak off with some other dude that he doesn't know about, or she has some kind of negative alternative plans that she's trying to hide from him. I found more often than not, it's usually bathroom stuff. So think about it. You think about if she comes over to your place. You probably took her to dinner before, so she's eating dinner. She got back to your place. She knew in advance there may be a hookup potentially happening, so she's not trying to pee too heavily or do number two or do whatever in the bathroom. So now she's staying over. So she stays over all night long, where she's potentially sitting on, having to go to the bathroom really, really bad, but not wanting to look like not be embarrassing herself by doing gross things in front of you. And now it's morning time and you still want to spend time with her. And she's like, I got to go to the bathroom. I got to fart. I got to do a number two. I need to wipe myself. I know my vajayjay probably smells from last night. I haven't gotten to wash up yet. Like, I feel really gross and I need to go home. So let's not take every action a woman does that we don't like personally. Like in this case, you want her to stay over and she doesn't want to stay over early in the morning. Let's think about maybe she has some girly stuff to do in the bathroom that she doesn't want you to see her do quite yet, because maybe you're not quite there in your relationship. Okay. And hey, you could be the guy to ask her, hey, I know she leave early. I'm just curious. Like, I'll usually want to make breakfast for you. Like, is something else going on? Or you have to do like girl stuff in the bathroom? Like what's up? Chances are if you ask her, she'll probably tell you, but that's my first go-to now, because as an experienced guy, I have found that tends to oftentimes be the case, but I digress. So anyway, he asked, should this be a concern if we're only seeing each other once a week? Most people in a relationship that are really into each other will see each other at least 2 to 3 times a week. I understand that we all have busy lives. Well, the reality is, again, women that have a high interest in you, they're typically going to find ways and find time in their schedule to spend with you in spite of how busy their schedule is. But you also have to ask what other things are currently set in place that could make this potentially be difficult. Is there anything like that in place? Let's find out. So then he says, I understand we all have busy lives. I'm just questioning if she's fully invested into our relationship or she's playing the field since she only has time to see me once a week. By the way, we live about 30 minutes away from each other. What are your thoughts? So now we get a bit more of an understanding of what's actually going on, because if he lives 30 minutes away from this girl, that technically qualifies as a slightly long distance relationship, because I don't know about you guys, I'm in LA, 30 minutes with no traffic turns into 45 minutes to an hour with traffic, okay? And so when that happens, that means that it can be very, very hard to be able to see the other person as much as you want if in so facto they're busy. So I know for me, like I've had several women I dated in LA that lived 45 minutes to an hour away from me. But I was willing to go to their place at times. They're willing to come to my place at times. And so we were able to make it work out because we both had an understanding of like, we know we like each other. We're kind of far away. I got a car. I'll make the drive. She has a car. She'll make the drive. It is what it is, right? And that also speaks to like what kind of work schedule these women had. Some women, sometimes they might have a job where it's like it's a typical 9 to 5. Some have it where like with teachers, for example, even though they get off of work, they get home and then they still got to plan for the next day. So if you're dating somebody like that, where they have a job that's going to be demanding of their time beyond normal work hours, and they live 30 minutes from you, they're now trying to factor in, okay, I have to do some work after work, but then I also got to make time to see him. But by the time I'm done with my work, it's going to be like 7:30, 8 o'clock. Is he going to be willing to be up that late? I'm going to be tired and probably need to rest for the next day. And so this is the complications that arise when you're dating somebody long distance, which is why I'm typically against it unless there is some talk of like maybe in the future, one of you guys will move towards each other. Ideally, it would be the woman that would move more towards you because you're the guy and you should be in a position where you can lead this relationship. And part of that is being able to set down roots and say, this is where I live. You want us to be together, you got to come to me. But 4 months in, too early for that. So a few things I question. I question if she's actually a girlfriend because it's been 4 months. Typically, women need 2 to 3 months before they decide on that kind of thing. But it seems like based on how often they've been able to see each other, that maybe the girlfriend-boyfriend bond is not as strong as it potentially could be. Like, I don't know. I'm not there every day, But suffice to say, seeing each other once a week, here's my thing. Ultimately, what the best sign is for you and your relationship is consistency. So let's say you have it set up now where you only see each other every Thursday. Is she consistently making those Thursday appearances? Is she consistently like in your presence and upbeat and talking to you and staring in your face and all this other stuff when she meets up with you? Is her whole focus on you and what you guys are doing when you're together? If those things are happening, even though it's not as often as you like, the reality is she's being consistent and persistent, in which case you are good. Now, she did bring up she'd like to see you more, and you're saying that her schedule is not allowing that to happen. So again, this goes back to what is her schedule currently look like, and then what times can you build in to potentially meet up with each other, even if that means that you potentially have to go to her. Like, it might be a thing where she comes to you one day of the week, and then you go to her one day of the week, assuming that your schedule allows for that, and assuming that on the days that you're proposing to also see her at her place, that she has legit time to, again, pay attention to you, to be in the moment with you. So if you're able to figure out what that looks like and set it up, then the reality is it should be possible. Like, even though she has a busy schedule, Saturdays and Sundays are typically open. If you're boyfriend and girlfriend, those days should be more than available for you to see each other. If she's also busy on Saturdays and Sundays and she said she just can't make it, I would then start to question, okay, is it what things is she doing that she's saying make her really busy? Like, is it, oh, I'm busy because my job now moved to Saturdays and Sundays? Or is it, I'm busy because, my friends do stuff on those days or my family or whatever? Or is it just, I just need those days to myself, so then I can't make those days available? Like, you got to really figure out when she's saying she's busy, what that looks like. And then if it's something that can be salvaged, then you say, okay, I know she said you're busy on this day at these times, but like, what about at this time over here? Again, ultimately there's going to be a solution that you as a guy got to come up with, and then hopefully it'll work for her schedule and it'll work for her. If it doesn't, then that would tell me that that's a woman that's not really fully invested yet in you being in her life long term. Because I tell you, I have dated lawyers, doctors, teachers. These three professions have some of the busiest schedules in life, and I was still able to see these women multiple times a week. Maybe it was 1 week, it was like 2 or 3 times. The next week it was 1 time, but on average it would be about 2 or 3 times a week, like you said. So there should be a way in. I don't know what this girl's job is. Assuming it's not the 3 professions that I mentioned, she should be able to find time to meet up with you. And again, this goes back to also long distance relationships typically don't last that long because at some point, one or both people get tired of having to make that drive. If you're a guy that's like, hey, I'm gung-ho, I love her to death, and I'm willing to make the sacrifice to go see her and drive, then that's totally fine. If she's not on her side of things willing to do that, or I'm just so busy, I just can't make it, or blah, 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 and she's not really able to sacrifice more than 1 day a week, again, her being consistent is good. You guys not being able to spend a lot of time together, that speaks to why it is that long distance isn't so great. And you may want to consider, if she's really your girlfriend, then try to work it out. If she's just a girl you're just dating that you want to call your girlfriend, but you haven't had that conversation yet, then you should probably be seeing other women that are nearby you, or ones that, even if they're 30 to 45 minutes away, are willing to make more of that sacrifice. Because at the end of the day, we want you with a woman that wants to spend more consistent time with you. Once a week is great. If she's doing it the same day every week, that's totally fine or whatever. But I know, just, in terms of trying to really establish really true feelings with each other and establish something that's going to last long term, you need to see each other more than once a week. So I'm not saying throw this completely out and just completely dump her all together. I'm saying really look at realistically what things you could be doing to meet up more than once a week, because she seems to be requesting it and you clearly want to do it. So there's got to be stuff that you guys can either throw out or time you can etch in. Even if it's like, I think sometimes people think, well, we need to have a whole separate day that we can spend the whole day with each other. It could be like, hey, on this day we spend 6 or 7 hours together and you stay overnight. And then this next day we spend like an hour together for like a good meal, or 2 hours to go to the movies. And then I'll go home and you go home, but it's just time to see each other. So don't think you got to try to find a whole separate, completely different day where you spend the whole day together. Like, it could be an hour or 2 or 3 or whatever, but there's got to be a way to work that out. And if she's willing to do that, then that means that she really does, in fact, have high interest, because she's willing to try to make that work. If you find it's a struggle to get to see her more, even though she initially requested it, then you might want to consider having a different conversation. So hopefully that answers your question. Again, for the rest of you guys, if you have a question you want me to answer on one of these shows, write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com, or you can go to my website, HarryWilmington.com, to sign up for some one-on-one time, some phone coaching with yours truly, as well as checking out my various ebooks, audiobooks, and programs. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Hey there, thanks for tuning in to Harry Dating Convos. Don't forget to visit HarryWilmington.com to download my free ebook, Texting Women Like a Boss. And while you're there, if you're ready to take things to the next level with your dating life, check out the Get Girls Academy membership program for exclusive strategies and live coaching. Go to HarryWilmington.com to learn more and join today. Lastly, if you've got a question you'd like answered on one of these shows, leave a comment below or write me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.